One of the greatest artists of all time, Jackson's impact on the world is undeniable. Michael Jackson's music career kicked off when he was just 5 years old. The Jackson 5, formed by their father Joe, subjected his sons, particularly Michael, to severe physical and emotional abuse. His relentless and cruel methods pushed Michael to his limits, but no success ever seemed to satisfy Joe. The harsh treatment left lasting scars on Michael. The whippings profoundly traumatized him. His childhood was marked by loneliness and isolation.
The truth is, Michael Jackson is remembered as the king of pop and one of the greatest performers to ever live. Michael was literally the most famous man in the entire world, known by virtually everyone. The more famous Michael would become, the more controversy that would surround his name. He would go on to be accused of doing a lot of disturbing things. But were any of the accusations true, or was there a sinister conspiracy to get rid of Michael?
In 1993, Michael Jackson wrote a song called Palestine Don't Cry. His Jewish producers, Sony Records, would not let him release it. When was Michael Jackson first accused of child sex abuse? 1993. Who accused him? A failed Jewish dentist, Evan Chandler, on behalf of his son. The psychiatrist that interviewed the young, supposed molested boy, Richard Gardner, Jewish. The press that defamed him, Jewish. His sister LaToya Jackson said the allegations were true, only to later in life admit that her Jewish husband was beating her and told her to do it. Michael Jackson was never convicted of any wrongdoing. They suck, they're like leeches. It's a conspiracy. The Jews do it on purpose. Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson told me settling that case, the biggest mistake he'd ever made. Remember that one boy?
Now listen to this, I have to tell you this. After I left the party, I get back to the Sheraton Hotel at Universal. There's 4 FBI agents waiting for me. Mom's there and she's like, tell them what happened. And I'm like, what do you mean tell them what happened? I said, are y'all crazy? I tell you that Michael did something bad so that sue him for money? I looked over at my mom and I was like, are you serious, Mom? I was like, what is going on here? Why are you letting this happen? She goes, oh, well, I think something happened. I think something. I'm like, really? That man did nothing but be hospitable, kind, loving, giving. I looked at my mom, I go, are you really trying to go at Michael and use me for a money grab? And I looked at him right now, I said, nothing happened. Michael was flirting with girls right in front of me. I saw him looking at girls' booty. I said, I saw you looking at her booty. He's like,
I don't read all the things written about me. I wasn't aware that the world thought I was so weird and bizarre. But when you grow up, as I did, in front of 100 million people since the age of 5, you're automatically different. My childhood was completely taken away from me. There was no Christmas, there was no birthdays. It was not a normal childhood, no normal pleasures of childhood. Those were exchanged for hard work, struggle, and pain, and eventual material and professional success. But as an awful price, I cannot recreate that part of my life.
With Michael Jackson already untouchable in the eyes of the public, the acquirement of the catalogue only served to make him an even bigger force to be reckoned with, and therefore the media attacks intensified. His life, work, appearance and privacy came under constant scrutiny, and a flood of farcical stories about Michael were printed in various newspapers and magazines on almost a daily basis. It became clear that the media were in no way interested in Michael's artistic work, but were simply so focused on slandering him personally that journalistic integrity was thrown right out of the window. In that same article, not satisfied with accusing Michael of being too white physically, the writer then concludes that Michael doesn't fit the model for rock critic idolatry because he's too black. In the same magazine, but a different article by Quincy Troop, Michael is attacked for his seclusion, plastic surgery, and the hyperbaric chamber story, and is literally called a national joke. This is just an example of the media smears Michael would have to endure throughout the rest of his life. His anger towards the assassination of his character became apparent when Bad is released in August of 1987. Which featured songs like Leave Me Alone and Bad, among other classic hits. Bad became the first album to produce 5 US #1 singles. Although Michael's popularity among the public was still immense, his work never received the credit it deserved from the industry from that point onwards. The more vocal Michael became and the more albums he sold, the more the media attacked him with a vengeance and an agenda. But the public still loved him, which is why a different approach was necessary. Once it was abundantly clear to the powers that be that Michael was not backing down or surrendering to the immense pressure put on him, it was time for their final ploy to ruin a man now too powerful for their liking. This is when the child molestation accusations by the Chandlers in 1993 and eventually the trial in 2005 became their atomic bomb to use against Michael Jackson.
In a post, you might have said this, it might have been this morning, it's safe for Michael Jackson, Tupac, and Elvis to come out and tell the truth, and they can run around and be safe now, that they're safe?
Yep.
How will they know that it's safe now? Are they watching these videos?
They all know of me. They all know I'm here.
What's the delay there? So, Michael Jackson, what is fear? They're afraid of being, pursued.
I sent them a message the other day, told them, listen, man, you need to come out of hiding and come take care of your fucking kids over here.
That's right.
Especially Lydia. They had a rough life and they experienced some rough shit too.
This year, we will also be investigating those who have sought to conspire against Michael Jackson and the designs that were used to destroy him. We will not only ask how, but also ask why, and we will look at Michael's own work to try and get to the bottom of this, in an attempt to be able to eventually connect the dots in the sinister plot to destroy Michael Jackson.
So my message to all of y'all is, the most powerful creator in the universe is Dad, God, Source, Creator, whatever. And he protects you when you make the right decisions. So stop being a bunch of bitches and come on out.